All right, hi there, Wade Sellers back with you. In this video, we're gonna look at a few other operators that you can use in these conditional statements, okay? I'm not gonna go over them all, but real quick, I am gonna just show you them, okay? So right here, you can see a graphic. This is showing a whole bunch of other operators that are going on here. So you have the ones that we're used to already. You have the exactly equal to, the double equal sign, greater than, less than or equal to, things like that. And then today I'm going to show you the double ampersand, which is the AND operator. I'm going to show you the double pipe, which is the OR operator. And I'm also going to show you the NOT operator using the exclamation point, okay? So if you look here in the app, I have a little bit of setup text here, or it's a little bit of setup code. If you want to create your own, go to create a Swift Playground app, using the Playgrounds software. Don't use Xcode yet. It's just easier to follow along using the Playgrounds. Create an app. Make sure it's an app so you have the app preview here. And you'll see that I still have the VStack here. I have the text, and I created a state variable, is raining, and it's equal to a Boolean, which is true. I've set it to true for now. And another state variable is cold, and that equals false. And then I have an output state variable, which is just text, and I left it blank for now, but if I add some text in there, you'll see in the preview that it should show up, okay? We're gonna change the output based on the values within our conditional statement. Now we need a spot to run our code, so with the VStack, I'm using the onAppear method, and as soon as this screen would appear, this code would rerun. So this is where we're gonna do our conditional statement. So we're gonna do it based on whether it's raining and it's cold, or whether one is true or false, and then we're going to do an else behind it, okay? So as I type it out, you can just follow along, hit pause and follow along so you get all the logic here, and then you can test it yourself by changing the values of these Boolean expressions, okay? Wow, these Boolean variables. All right, so let's start with this. If is raining and double ampersand is cold, open the curly brace, and we'll set the output to equal it's rainy and cold. Okay, I'm gonna keep going on, but real quick, notice how I didn't use any equal sign or anything? When you're creating if statements or when you're creating conditional statements, if you just leave it as is raining, this will work for a Boolean expression. Is raining will automatically equal true, which is why I wrote it nicely by saying is raining. I didn't just say raining, okay? Is raining, it sounds like it already, equals true, and is cold equals true. So if both values are true, this statement will be true, and this line of code will be ran, okay? All right, let's try another one. Else if, and this one we're gonna do is raining, so make that true, and it's not cold. Okay, I'll talk about it in just a moment. Let's do the output. Equals, and this is going to say it's rainy and not cold. Okay, so what's going on here? This is the not operator. It basically reverses whatever value is cold is currently, right? So if we say else if is raining is true and is cold should be true, we're going to do the opposite of is cold, which is false. So the way that this reads out is else if is raining is true and is cold is false. So if is raining is true and is cold is false like it is now, then this function is technically true, and this line of code will be ran, okay? Let's try another one. Let's do else if, let's do is raining equals true, and then a double pipe, or is cold is true. And let me write the output and I'll explain it. This will be it's rainy or cold. Okay, so the double pipe here is the or expression, just like is raining and is cold right here. Is raining and is cold. These both have to be true in order for this line of code to be ran. This if statement is saying if it's raining if is raining is true and if is cold is true, then this whole statement here is true, and then you'll run this. This is saying if is raining is true or if is cold is true, then this whole statement is true, and you can run this output here, okay? So only one of these would technically have to be true in this situation. And there's other options that you can have, but for now, we're not gonna write them all out. We're gonna do an else. So basically, if none of these statements were true, then run this statement, and we'll do if output equals, and we'll just say it's something else altogether, okay? So basically, if all the other things are false, then this one will be the one that's ran. Okay? So here we are. So let's see what we got here. Is raining is true, is cold is false. You'll see over here, it's rainy and not cold. Okay? If is raining is true and is cold is false. That's the statement right here, which is true based on our parameters, and this is why this statement is ran. Let's set them both to true. Let's try that. If is raining is cold and is cold is true. Let's try that. Let's see how that changes. Okay, it's rainy and cold. All right, so that means this one was ran. How about else if is raining is true or is cold is true? Let's try doing is raining equals false. And let's see if we can get it to run there. It's raining or cold, okay? Which means is raining is true. Nope. Or is cold is true. Yep, it is. So it ran this one. And now I believe if I set them both to false, I should be able to hit this one right here. So let's try that. Set it to false. And yes, it's something else altogether, which means it hit the if statement here, and it was like, if is raining equals true and is cold equals true? Nope, okay, that one's false. Okay, else if is raining equals true and is cold equals false? Nope, that's not true. Else if is raining equals true or is cold equals true? Nope, they're both false, so that one's false. Okay, so else it must be this one. So it ran that one, all right? So that's how this works, all right? So you're just creating different logical parameters, and if it's true, it will run that one. And as soon as it hits one that is a true statement, then it's done. It's going to move on. So once it ran this one, it doesn't even check to see if these ones are true. Once you have a true path, the if statement is done, okay? In the next one, I'm going to show you switch statements. You can see in this example here with ands and ors and multiple values, you can end up with a ton of else-if statements, right? And keeping track of it all can be very confusing. A switch statement is a handy way to write out a bunch of logic in a much more kind of like cleaner way. So I'm going to show you the switch statement in the next video, all right? I'll see you in the next video. Bye.